Alright, so in the last video we talked about what Sass is and what it can do for us. Basically it's a CSS compiler, and we can use things like variables and conditional statements, things like that. So we're going to do a project now and implement Sass. And the project itself is going to be pretty simple. Basically we're going to have a few pricing tables here for a hosting company. Each package has a different price, different features. Excuse me. And that's it basically. When you hover over it, it just shrinks a little bit just to give it a little dynamic animation, I guess, if that's what you want to call it. And then we have one that's kind of sticks out. It's longer than the rest. It has a white border. And you see this often for popular, if maybe it's the most popular package or gives you the most value, something like that. So pretty simple. And again, what I want you to really focus on is Sass and our workflow more than the project itself. Okay, so in order to develop with Sass, we need a couple things. It runs on the Ruby language, so we need to install Ruby, and then we'll install Sass, and then we need a tool to compile our CSS, and we're going to use something called Scout, which is an extremely simple tool to use. Alright, so first we want to get Ruby installed, and if you're using Windows, the best way to do this is at rubyinstaller.org. Alright, it's the easiest way. So if we click download, we're going to install two things. We want the actual Ruby language. We're going to use Ruby 2.0, and we also want the dev kit. Okay, this will allow us to it'll let us do things in a simple way, like install Ruby gems, which are kind of like little smaller individual applications, things like that. So let's go ahead and install Ruby first. I'm on a 64-bit system, so I'm going to click this link, and we'll open that when it's done. Alright, let's go ahead and run that. English, I accept. I'm going to leave it in the default folder, which is going to be right in the C drive. Finish. And now we actually have Ruby installed. So we also want to install the development kit. Again, I'm on 64 bits, so I'm going to use this version here. If you're using a 32-bit system, you want to click this one. And if you don't know and you're in Windows, you can just go to the Start menu, go to Computer, right-click, Properties, and then right here, System Type, you can see I have a 64-bit system. Okay, it'll say either 64 or 32. Okay, so what I'm going to do is download this. And I'm going to run. Now extract to, I'm going to choose to extract this in my C drive, and I'm going to create a new folder, and I'm going to call it dev kit. Okay, we'll open that up, extract, and this is where I'm going to be doing all my projects that have to do with Sass. Alright, so now let's go ahead into that directory, make sure everything extracted. Okay, I want to go to my C drive and then dev kit. Alright, so what we want to do is open a command line. So in Windows we want to just go here and say cmd. And we want to see if Ruby is accessible to us globally. So let's say Ruby V. Alright, so it's not recognized. So what we need to do here is create an environmental variable so that we can access Ruby pretty much anywhere on the fly. So to do that, we want to go to a computer icon and go to Properties and Advanced System Settings, and then here we have this Environmental Variables button, and then down here you want to find the path. Okay, you can see variable path. Sorry about that. So highlight that and then edit, and basically you want to go to the end of the line here, the last place you can go, and then put a semicolon, and then the location of the Ruby bin file, which in my case is going to be in my C drive, so C colon backslash, and let me just double check where this Ruby is. Okay, it's in my C drive, and then it's right here, Ruby 200-x64, so that's what I want to put right here. Okay, Ruby capital R 200-x64. Alright, and that should do it. No, it shouldn't do it. We need to do another, we need to do a backslash and then bin, okay, because that's where we want it to go, into the bin. And then we'll click OK, OK, and OK. Alright, so now if we do this again, let's say Ruby V. Actually, I think we might have to restart the command line. Alright, so now you can see that it's giving us the version of Ruby that's installed. Alright, so that step is very important. If that happens and you didn't know what to do, you can actually look for hours, and I'm speaking from experience. So always check, make sure that you have the environmental variable. So what we want to do now is, I don't know if the instructions are here for the development kit. Might be under help. Development kit. Alright, so download it, extract it, we did that. Installation. Okay, we don't need to do that. We extracted the files. Okay, now we want to run the install scripts. Alright, so basically we want to go to the dev kit installation directory. Alright, in my case is going to be the dev kit folder I created inside of my C drive. So I'm going to say cd / brings me to my C drive, and then I'm going to do a cd into dev kit, and then what I'm going to do is run ruby dk.rb init. Alright, so that should have generated our config.yml file. So let's check that. Okay, and there it is right there, config.yml. Next we want to run this command here. Where is it? Ruby dk.rb install. Okay, so ruby dk.rb install. Invalid configuration and no boot Ruby's list fees fix config and return. Let's do this review Ruby, this review command, see if that helps us out. So ruby dk.rb review. Please fix config. Alright, so you know what, let's just test this installation. If you see here, it says test installation by running gem install JSON. So what does it want me to run? Gem install JSON and platform equals Ruby. Okay. Alright, I'm not sure what that means. You know what? I'm just going to assume that it's installed correctly and move on to install Sass. Alright. So install Sass. Okay, this is what we want right here. Gem install Sass. Alright, looks like that's working. Okay, cool. And to double check, let's do a Sass V, SASS V, and we have it 3.4.3 installed. Now if you click this button, learn more about Sass, this is where it tells you all of the valuable information about how you can do things like variables. You can see it's very simple. We have a variable called font stack, which is equal to the Helvetica font. So you can just put this variable wherever you want, okay, with any selector. And if you want to change the color of that variable, you change it in one place, and then it reflects in all the instances of that variable. Alright, so what I want to do now is install Scout. I'm not sure the exact URL, so I'll say Scout Sass. Alright, so I want to download for Windows. And this application is extremely easy to use. Let's run it. Okay. Alright, so it's just going to ask where you want to install it. I agree. Alright, so now it's installed. You can see this is the interface. Basically what we want to do, I'm going to create a project folder in my C drive, and then dev kit, and then in here I'm going to create a new folder, and I'm going to call this price tables, and create a few folders. One is going to be our CSS. One is going to be a Sass folder, also an image folder. Alright, and I'll also create an index HTML file. Alright, now what I want to do is in Scout, I'm going to click this icon to load a project. Okay, my project folder is going to be in my dev kit price tables. Alright, and then we want to choose the input folder, which is going to be the Sass folder, and then the output folder where style sheets will be generated is going to be the CSS folder. And then I don't have a JavaScript folder. Images, I'll use my image folder, and that's it really. You can choose different environments, development, production, things like that, but I'm just going to keep the default. Alright, now if I go ahead and click this play button to try to start to compile, I'm probably going to get an error because there's nothing to compile. Okay, so what we want to do is I'm just going to go ahead and create a CSS file. I'm sorry, I don't want to create this in my CSS folder. I want to create this in my Sass folder. So this is going to be called style.css. I'm sorry, SCSS. Style.scss. Okay. And then inside of there, let me just open that up. And I'm just going to put a simple body. What am I doing here? So body and say background black. How did I do this? There we go. Alright, body background black. I'll save that and now go back to Scout and try to click the play or the compile button. Alright, so change detected. Good. So now, since that ran, if we go back to our project folder and we go to the CSS folder, we now have a style.css file, and that's what's used. You can see it was generated from the SCSS file. So we won't touch any of this. Okay, we want to work strictly in the SCSS folders, which is in the Sass folder. And you can see we have our cache folder right here as well. Alright, so it's actually a really easy workflow. If we visit that HTML, alright, so the background isn't black. Oh, we didn't link it. Duh. So let's open up that index file and just do our basic structure. We want our doc type HTML. Okay, so in the head, I just want title, and we'll call this Sass pricing tables, and then we want to link the style sheet. Remember, you always want to link the actual CSS file, the file that Sass generates. Do not link the CSS files. What am I doing here? This should be href. And I have my keyboard on insert, which I hate. So let's see, this is in css/style.css. And first we want the rel tag here for style sheet. And that should be good. Then the body tags. Okay, and then save, and now the black is applied. So in the next video we'll get into creating the HTML, and then ultimately we'll look at Sass and we'll create variables and mix-ins and things like that.